Hi, I'm Emma. I want to share with you the lessons I've learned through my 15 years as a leader in the Canadian Armed Forces. So join me. This is Emma Fairhurst Leadership. So today we're going to talk about whether or not you can learn to be a great leader. This is something that has been discussed and debated over the years. There are two main schools of thought. The first is that it is a personality trait. You're born with it. There's nothing you can do. You're either a leader or you're not. The more recent, more academically accepted answer to this question nowadays is that it is actually a skill. So the fact that it's a skill means that you can learn it, you can teach it, and you can improve it. And so with that in mind, can everybody learn to be a leader? So just like anything else, everybody can learn to do something to a certain degree, but not everybody can learn to be great at it. That being said, I think of leadership as falling on a distribution curve. So if you think about it in the sense of percentiles, so you've got the mass majority of people falling in the standard distribution. These are all people who can learn to lead and learn to lead at a very high level. But there are your outliers. So there are those who are naturally gifted, some of the best leaders you've ever heard of. And then there are people who, despite trying, and they might not ever be able to be a great leader. They can absolutely embody some of the skills and practice the skills, but they may never be able to become amazing leaders. So let's think of it this way. When you were a child, you learned how to read and write. So just like anything else, there are people who are good at writing, and then there are people who struggle with it no matter how much they practice. So that's because writing is a skill, similar to leadership. The reality of the matter is, you can't just learn it from a book. It just doesn't work that way. It's one of those things, like any skill, is that you have to practice. So what you really have to do is you have to pick up a book. I mean, there's no getting around it. You're gonna have to learn it somehow, whether you get it taught through a class, through a program, through a book. But the point of the matter is you're going to have to go take what you've learned, and you're going to have to go apply it in the real world. There's no way around it. You can't lead without leading. It is an action. It is a applied skill. And so it is absolutely something that you're going to have to go out and just try it. And here's the thing is you're going to mess it up like anything else. You're not going to get it perfect on the very first shot. So just be ready to get feedback. If you can set yourself up with some people who are able to give you that feedback and that you trust, it would help you a lot. But the trick is you absolutely need to find the appropriate person, whether it be a mentor within your workplace, whether it be a friend that you discuss your leadership challenges with, or a loved one at home like I do with my husband. We discuss what's going on at my work on a regular basis so that I can get the feedback, whether or not how I'm approaching an issue or the way that I'm thinking about things. He can play that devil's advocate to challenge the way that I'm thinking and challenge the way that I am leading. Without that gut check and without that person or multiple people who can keep you accountable, you're going to find it challenging to be able to expand your leadership. Think about it this way. If you're constantly going in a direction, not getting any feedback, how do you know if you're actually going in the right direction? It's good to trust your instincts, and I absolutely believe in trusting your instincts when it comes to leadership, but it helps to have somebody who you trust in your corner who is also wanting you to become a better leader. So if you're not lucky enough to have somebody in your life who's able to do that, or not able to afford a leadership coach or a leadership mentor, then the next best thing that I recommend is journaling. Writing down your thoughts on how your day is going and the leadership challenges that you're experiencing is going to help you look at it from a different light. Seeing the words written down on a page is a different way to look at the problem and will actually stimulate your brain to think about the problem differently. So even if you do have a coach or a mentor or somebody that you get that feedback, that leadership feedback from, it's still a good idea to journal some of your challenges on a regular basis. one of the other things I wanted to talk to you guys about today is being intentional with your leadership. So what do I mean by that? I'm talking about an actual intentional practice of leadership. So going and leading with purpose. So a lot of people, when they're in leadership positions, are on autopilot. They have a tendency to think that because they're given a certain position or because they're in a position of power, that automatically makes them a leader. So this could not be any further from the truth. Being a leader is absolutely separate from the position that you hold. A person within an organization, any position within an organization can be a leader. It's nothing to do with the position that you hold. It's a balance of leadership behaviors and leadership skills. And so I am in a future video going to be covering the two key elements, in my opinion, that constitute leadership and how you can actually go about improving those skills. Being intentional with your leadership means on a daily basis, making sure that you're checking in with yourself to make sure that you're making the decisions that you want to be making and that they're aligned with the values that you hold as a leader. If you're not doing this on a regular basis, you run the risk of going down a path that you never intended on going and making decisions against a criteria that you never actually meant to do. It is true what they say. Leadership really is like a muscle. It's one of those things. You go to the gym on a regular basis and you're consistent, well, you're going to grow your muscles. So just like that, leadership is about improvement and intentionality. You don't just accidentally find yourself at the gym. Well, I don't anyway. So you need to purposefully lead and purposefully make the decisions that you want to make as a leader. Without setting goals and intentions for your leadership, you won't be able to become the leader you want to be. It's like anything else. Failing to plan is planning to fail. And it's exactly the same with leadership. So if you think that you're just going to accidentally stumble upon yourself being the greatest leader of all time, that's just not realistic. That's not how the great leaders you work with, that's not how they became leaders. That's not how they became great at what they do. They did it intentionally. They didn't just fall upon it. So how can we be intentional? So what I do is that I have a bullet journal that I designed to meet my needs and to help me and stay in line with the type of leader that I want to be. If you don't have time to address a certain question or concern that pops up into your head when you're in the middle of a meeting, for example, at work, well, you can use that book, write it down, and make sure you come back to it later. So what I do is I check in with it. So I schedule time on a daily basis. It doesn't have to be a daily basis if you don't honestly have the time, but on a regular basis, you should be carving out time in your day to your leadership practice. Use this as an opportunity to review the questions and concerns that have popped up for you during the day and determine how you would like to address those issues. So it is absolutely something that I would recommend to help you be intentional in your leadership and make sure that you don't forget what is really important, which is leadership. Outcomes, business outcomes, and business objectives, they're all very important. But I am truly of the mind that if you lead well and your people are looked after and your processes make sense, then you're going to see those outcomes and you're going to see that success. Focusing on the outcomes as an organization instead of focusing on how we get to those outcomes can lead us down a road that we don't want to go. I'm thinking that in itself could be an awesome YouTube video idea, so let me know down in the comments below if that's something you would like to learn more about. All right, so I'm going to wrap up the video here, but I'm going to leave you with one parting thought. More of a question, really. And that question is, how can you employ some of these tactics and some of these suggestions that I've offered in this video to improve your leadership? And the next question is, What do you think would happen if you didn't? What do you have to lose? All right, so please subscribe to my channel by clicking the red subscribe button below, and don't forget to hit that notification bell because I will be uploading videos once a week and I absolutely don't want you to miss them because they are going to be packed full of actionable advice and how we can all improve our leadership. I will be making a video about what I consider to be leadership success and how you can achieve it. I truly do believe that it is fundamentally broken down into two parts, which is the soft skills of how we conduct ourselves and how we appreciate others and how we talk to people, and all of those soft skills, our values, all of those things. But I think there's a critical element that a lot of these leadership books miss. And what that is, well, I guess you'll just have to find out and subscribe to my channel so that you can find out, because it's going to be in my next video. All right, talk to you later.